when you speed through a red light. But now I have the authority with freedom of information and privacy, et cetera, is not only now can I pull up all your and learn all about your social media, and I can get your bank information, et cetera, et cetera. So the initial intent of the device to slow you down and respect the speed laws has now turned into a device where we don't care if you're speeding. We just use it as it's you know what it is? It's a manipulation of search and seizure. How's that? Make sense?
Yeah.
It's a manipulation of search and seizure. I can't stop you and search your car, but now I have access to your bank account.
It's even more, I will use the term efficient.
Right. So ergo, negative credit score.
Well, there you go. You've linked it all to, okay, here we go. It's all connected. Hello, Payman. Welcome to the broadcast.
Hey, David. Sorry for being late.
Hey, you're wearing the same shirt you wore half an hour ago.
I sleep in this shirt.
That's right.
Okay, yeah, all three of you. Okay, Cerberus at the Improv. I've already talked about the show. You know, we're talking politics, Payman, and everyone knows you. You've been on the show before. But you're running for a federal seat in the House of Parliament. Is that right?
Correct.
Well, let me ask you this. Let's say that you get that wish and you do go to the Parliament and you see something like this. I'm going to share the screen. I thought when all three of you guys are here, I would play this short video from Halifax, near where I live. I live in Nova Scotia, but I don't live in Halifax. Thank goodness. Share screen. Here's the video. It's a business called Halifax Rage Room.
I saw that.
Yeah, it offers patrons the opportunity to take out their anger on photos of Donald Trump.
Hello, everyone. I'm Terry, the owner of Rage Room Halifax.
It's 1 minute, 30 seconds.
And we're offering a promotion until the tariffs are ending called Reverse the Tariffs, Smash the Tariffs. We offer 25% off all extras that we sell, whether it's household items or electronics, glass. And of course, all of our packages come with a free picture of Donald Trump. And if you want to get a picture of JD Vance and Elon Musk together, $5 for the pair. All proceeds go to Feed Nova Scotia. Well, with everything going on in the world these days, I just really felt that some of our customers could use a little break, literally. And we decided to make all our extras 25% off all of our products. We had a local print shop offer us to print pictures. We supply the frames. We've had a lot of positive response with the pictures. People come in, they see the picture of Trump. Most people grab it, want to smash it. At the end of the day, we're entertainment. We say that right from the start. We're entertainment. We're not promoting hate. We're not promoting violence. We are just doing a reverse tariff.
That's not violent.
In conjunction with the tariffs that the Americans are playing on us.
Reverse
People
tariff.
are coming in. They're loving this idea. They're happily taking pictures. So I mean, you get a few that don't, but whatever. It's not what we're trying to promote. We're just, the biggest thing of all is that we're giving people 25% off the extras that they purchase when they come here. We're going to offer this until we either run out of frames or until the tariffs end.
Okay, I've heard enough. Anyway, basically, you can bring stuff there and smash it, I guess, or buy stuff. You see all the tea kettles, lamps, you know, you can buy a big box of stuff and smash it, I guess. And now they're adding this thing. So I don't know. You guys, help me. I don't know. This culture is strange, right?
I just want to say, well, say three things real quick. One, welcome to free enterprise.
Yeah,
Good for him.
Yeah.
Good for him. Two, George Orwell's 2 Minutes of Rage. Right?
Yes.
Right. And three, I'm waiting for health and safety to shut them down.
Me, I would have a question for Payman. Let's say, Payman, we will have an electoral campaign. You're elected as an MP. You go to the parliament, and people hate you for what you do. And you go in a small shop that sells used product, and you see a picture of you there that you can destroy. How do you react? You can imagine Trump, or I'm sure Elon Musk will not go there, but you can imagine you go in a shop like this and you see people smashing your picture. It is not hate.
It's a Canadian business. This is where I get confused. Where's the picture of Donald Trump? Or I mean, sorry, Justin Trudeau, or the person who caused all of the problems.
Trudeau, we can use.
Heyman would probably offer to do a bunch of autographs, right? Here, give me 50 of those. Let me get an autograph on them for you.
You know,
honestly, I
Go
was
ahead.
thinking like this guy's business model, his profit margin, that frame has got to cost more than $5. Like all you got to do
No,
is just
that's
do it a
all
couple.
No.
thrift stores. That's
People
all
they
thrift
bring
store
things there.
rejects.
He
Oh,
said he
got
got
a-
so
a,
he gets them
Yeah.
for
He's got
free.
an arrangement with the 3 or 4 local thrift stores to supply
Yes.
him the stuff.
You know,
Yeah,
I don't know if you
Okay.
have this in English part of Canada, but in Quebec we
Brilliant.
have garage sale. Garage
Yes.
sale, you go and buy
Yes.
stuff that
Yes.
is used
Yes.
cheap and people don't want anymore.
Yes.
And now in Quebec it's mandatory. You cannot have a garage sale if you don't have a permit, and you need to do it like everybody the same day as everybody. So what do? You go to a garage sale, you buy some cheap stuff that the person doesn't want, and the person comes at your house, does the same thing, and 2-3 years after you buy back your own product, and it is like
Yes.
it's
Yes.
just to
Yeah. Yeah.
so
Yeah. I think he's doing his community legitimate service. He's just having some fun while he's at it. And then I think that if this gets on, shows up on Trump's news feed, he's just gonna laugh and I don't know.
well
offer
he
to
will,
buy-
he will
offer
not
to
even
buy
appear.
Halifax or something. I think it's great.
Well, that's Canadian culture.
it's okay.
It's George Orwell's 2 Minutes of Rage.
Okay, because now they're vandalizing Tesla in Quebec
Oh, really?
Boy,
you know,
yeah.
everywhere.
On the issue of Teslas, I remember when I was in school, once every year they would bring a car in as a fundraiser. You pay $5 and they give you a bat and you can swing away at it. But there was nothing political about it. It was just a fundraiser.
And there's no picture.
Yeah, there's no picture. They didn't have a picture of the Queen or the Prime Minister on the car.
Nobody's painting swastikas on it.
Well,
I saw yesterday. It was on X swastika on Tesla on the Cybertruck and everything. And they're vandalizing. Those people are vandals. They're vandalizing private property.
How widespread is that? Is the media blowing this up? Is this how much damage?
It is not widespread. It is small. It is focused. There are little tiny hot spots that are getting way too much amplification. And is it a problem? Absolutely.
I'm bringing up Pierre Polivier. Sorry, guys. I know this is a PPC sort of room here, I think, and I'm an anarchist. So, and now we're talking about Pierre. So how's this going to go? The lost liberal decade. Why would you elect a liberal? I mean, he makes sense here, but look at this. The graph is the point. Look at this. Who's in the bottom? Do you think? Real GDP.
We're second from the bottom.
Real GDP per capita growth.
Yes. Real
From 2015 to present, Q3 2024. That's basically now. So here we go.
Where's Zimbabwe?
Mexico.
Canada is
wow.
Yeah. So we're doing a little bit better than a pure bureaucratic state.
Yes.
Is this Luxembourg?
Luxembourg.
That's Luxembourg.
Where the fuck is Luxembourg?
It's in Europe.
It's basically a tax
it's a small kingdom.
Hey, you want to have some fun? You got to see that. Okay, one sec. You're gonna love this. I'll turn on the volume. I felt that was quite loud. Okay, very short, 10 seconds.
Oh,
this made me laugh. Watch.
YMCA.
Watch this. Wait for it.
Good for him. How old is he? Like 18 or something?
He's 7 feet tall, I hear.
So, David, did you put the music or they did?
No, someone else did that. Isn't that funny? But we know because when I see this, I think Hail Caesar, right? Like this guy might inherit the entire planet. Could this guy be like the dictator of the technocracy that's coming or something? Anyway, 7 feet tall. There's a big conspiracy around this guy now. But no, let's get serious. Let's talk about Mark Carney. Have you seen this clip?
Oh, that was with Flaherty.
Wait till you hear this. This is going to shock you.
That's Jim Flaherty.
Terrify anybody who is in this country.
I also wish to thank the governor on behalf of our government and all Canadians for his work at the Bank of Canada. Since Governor Carney's appointment at the Bank of Canada in February 2008, the world has seen the deepest economic crisis since the Great Depression of the 19th.
Yeah. now there's still 20 seconds left.
Can you tag me in that? I have people who want that.
Yeah. Check this out, though. This is halfway through. There's 20 seconds. Now, I've played a lot of poker. Watch this. Watch Carney's face he didn't like the way that was said because we're
Well, of
laughing.
course not.
He didn't like that his job was to fucking destroy this country. Watch this.
1930s, and the long, slow, and fragile
Blink,
recovery
blink,
that has followed.
Blink, looking down.
Governor Carney has been
He wants to just. He thinks, why did he say it like that? Watch this.
an invaluable support. First as my
The look over.
senior associate deputy minister at the Department of Finance,
Act casual.
and
Act
then
casual.
after we appointed him as governor.
I don't know.
I appreciate the work he has done and the advice he has given to keep Canada's economy strong, protect Canadian jobs, and maintain the stability of our monetary system.
Okay, I'll just click share on that right now on the old Twitter, and then it'll be there. So how do you like that? What the fuck is going on with this guy? No, what's this?
You know,
Well-
there's an American series. The second time I watch it, the title is "Lie to Me." It is with Tim Roth, and Tim Roth is he's a psychologist who study what he calls micro expression, or body language. When you look at the body language of Carney, it's obvious he's not happy.
Yeah, he does not want to be there.
Yeah, it's weird, eh? And then Payman, you weren't here to start the show, but we played also the Liz Truss. She also said the exact same thing yesterday on Glenn Beck's podcast. She said basically the exact same thing. He was the governor of the UK, almost destroyed the fucking place.
It's my understanding that Carney intentionally tanked the British economy to get her out, just to make her look bad.
Well, she didn't need a lot of help.
She didn't need the help, but
Sorry.
so now I have to reconsider my support for Carney.
Because Liz Truss, she declared because she was prime minister of Great Britain when Russia started the special military operation, and she said we should nuke Russia first. So but coming from a blonde woman, I not expect more of that. By the way, my wife is blonde. My wife. I love her. I love women. So just to make sure that people will not consider like I'm part of a French minority.
You're French. You say how it is. I'm 1/3 French, so I'm allowed to say that. I know how the French are. we that's the thing. Okay. Wow. I have more questions. Anyway,
we open our mouth and we say things.
Jesus. But yeah. Anyway, I don't know. Do we have to talk about Carney the whole time? No. Do we? I don't know. I mean, he's saying things. Well, okay. Let's talk about this. Zelensky's coming back in June to the Parliament
this year.
Yes.
Will he still be alive? Will he still be alive?
He's invited to the G7. Yeah. Oh. I guess I shouldn't say he's coming to the Parliament. I'm not sure.
Coming to Canada.
He's coming to Canada in June. Yeah, this is the latest.
Canada will still exist, or it will be the 51st state.
Yeah.
Well,
there's a lot of things that can happen in 2 months, 3 months.
51st through 64th, right?
Yeah. I had
So
another little.
Zelensky comes back, and then we have the Syrian ISIS general. So they'll both show up in a special event in Parliament where they'll both receive medals. The brand newly minted Canadian Governor General Coronation Medal of Canadian whatever.
Can we record that live from coast to coast?
Right.
Well,
And
here
force,
he's in Finland.
and force people
Half
to
an hour
watch.
later in Newfoundland.
Sorry. He's in Finland right now, and they're doing what they did in Canada. Look.
In Finland.
I'm sorry. Is Zelensky still president? Like, have they held elections?
No. He's not legitimate, but he's there. He's not president.
So
he's not legitimate. He's not. But like Carney,
No, okay, fine. I get the irony of a Canadian asking this, but what is the official designation of Ukraine? Is it a military junta? What are they?
Oh, you will open the Pandora box here.
Did you say punta?
Junta.
It's an appropriate word.
So Finland is losing their mind in support of Ukraine because they're afraid of Russia for different reasons.
I'm just not seeing any SS 80-year-old Nazis. That's my problem. I'm trying to find them.
That's because
are they in the room here, or where's the 80-year-old SS Nazis? Where are they? Only in Canada that happens, right?
So what you're looking at is their 45-year-old grandsons.
Oh, yeah. Ooh, well, rabbit hole.
In Finland.
Yeah.
I have a hypothesis. I think they're poisoning the water of the well.
Finland?
Well, Finland, Estonia, Lithuania, they're we always make jokes with my wife. They're chihuahuas. They have no
Yeah.
political power whatsoever.
Yeah.
Just look at the Prime Minister of
Oh,
Estonia, how she's completely hysteric about what is happening.
Yeah, but aren't those the families that continuously tried to push on the Western Rus and kept getting their asses handed to them?
Yes, exactly. That's what I
Right?
refer to.
Right. So the Estonia and Lithuania region, St. Petersburg, right in that area,
Yes,
continuously fighting with the Rus in the 1500s
yes.
and getting their butts handed back to them.
Always, there's a little part of sadomasochism in that, and I discovered something about. I'm a reader of Leopold von Sacher-Masoch, which is he was a doctor, but Leopold von Sacher-Masoch wrote a lot of novels, and it is the origin of the word masochism. And Leopold von Sacher,
I know what he's talking about.
And he was born in Ukraine. He was born in Kiev. So you have this tendency of people who wants to have their ass beaten.
Kiev is the first Russian capital.
Yes, Kiev is the first Russian, the Rus of Kiev. But you will have historian who will disagree. They will fight. But if you refer to Estonia, all those countries, Pre-Baltic Republic, they are part of a 1,000-year turmoil.
Well, then
same thing with Poland.
Then the solution is simple: reunite Prussia and be done with it.
Well, now we're talking more about Europe than we're talking about Canada.
Well,
but maybe we will be part of the European Union.
We're jumping from Carney right to globalism. I mean, come on.
But it's what's going on in northwestern
Carney
Europe
is a European, basically.
Is very much relevant to Canada because Canada has been busy diplomatically sucking at the teat of Western Europe and the EU for the last 3 or 4 years. Right. It's especially since, starting to throw some real serious money at the Ukraine. The only way that they want let me back up. Canada has never met its 2% GDP requirement or commitment to NATO.
Never.
Usually it's 1% or even lower. So half of its commitment or even lower. It has never done it. What other NATO nations, immaterial. I don't care. Canada has never met its obligation. And then all of a sudden, it takes $20 billion in about a 5-year period and dumps it straight into Zelensky's hands, bypassing NATO, which if I'm NATO, I'm like, F you, SOB, you don't insult the relationship. So he has to go around the backside to anti-Soviet, pro-Canadian nations and suck their left testicle in order to keep on good relationships for his exit clause.
Well, it doesn't go to NATO. It goes to Panama or Delaware.
Yeah,
because you understand very well that the 70% of the amount that they're sending to Ukraine never arrives for the army. Never, and everybody's taking its cut.
Yes,
along the way.
Yeah.
So that's why Trump is so angry. He says, "What did you do with the $300 billion that we sent you?"
Yeah.
Of course, 25-30% goes for the military complex in the United States. They're renewing their stock, sending the old military weapons to Ukraine. And
Rheinmetall.
Raytheon, Lockheed Martin. It's 1,200 billion of military budget on the U.S. budget, and like you said, Canada never was able to achieve this 3% of the GDP for NATO.
It was able.
It was able. Never did it.
They chose not to. They chose not to because, like Europe, we're satisfied to let America foot the bill.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So what is that, Article 5 or whatever that the vice president was talking about?
It's Article 5, right? the NATO chart.
Saying to NATO, you guys don't pull up your socks. We're done. We're done footing the bill.
Well, the Article 5 says that if a NATO ally is attacked, everybody will go and defend.
If
And,
you guys want to go back to 2016, that Trump used that threat way back in 2016 when he said, if you don't want to meet your 2% obligations, we're just going to
Yes.
leave NATO.
It's
And it
not
worked
new. It's
until
not new.
2020 when they kicked him out.
Yeah.
I remember that.
It's not new, but NATO is a paper tiger.
Meanwhile,
NATO is it was supposed to be a defensive alliance.
oh fuck Ukraine. Okay. Meanwhile, in Canada, we got this happening.
This New Brunswick premier,
This guy, I don't know who this guy is, but
he's a New Brunswick premier, I bet.
this is an NDP guy. He's a big
Is he
guy,
NDP?
Charlie Angus,
Charlie Angus.
Who is
NDP.
he?
Isn't it him who founded the poll agency, the Angus Polls?
Right.
Oh, yeah. He's a big player in Canadian politics.
I think it is him who founded the polling agency.
Yeah, I was reading his Wikipedia, and him and his wife. These are elites in Canada, kind of. I mean, he's an idiot. I think he's in the lower rung. But listen to this.
Donald Trump's comments about Pierre Poilievre.
Oh, poor Pierre. Pierre Poilievre has been endorsed by every MAGA right-wing voice that supports Donald Trump. But what Donald Trump is realizing is getting an endorsement from Donald Trump is political death in Canada. So now he's trying to say he doesn't support Pierre Poilievre. Nobody's buying that. Pierre Poilievre is MAGA. Pierre Poilievre is supporting the same kind of extremist policies that Donald Trump is. And Donald Trump is trying to do Pierre a favor by saying, oh, actually, I don't like Pierre Poilievre. Nobody's buying it. Well, I think any of the words that come out of Donald Trump.
Anyway, he just continues on this weird tirade. I don't know. I thought that was weird, right? What's up with this guy?
But it's all BS.
Yeah, that's weird.
There's nothing in that is sound political strategy.
The NDP are the extremists. You guys on your show last night went through the Green Party's website, like paragraph by paragraph and photo, but this
we go back to
everywhere.
Von Sacher as a little bit masochist too.
Yeah, that was really good what you guys did there, and I feel like the NDP, if we did that right now, if we just cracked open their website and just went through it, it would be just not much less crazy than what you guys found last night on the Green Party website.
If we did something good on our show, then that's Payman's fault.
He digged in it. He started to dig in on the website.
Yeah, that was a really. I enjoyed it. That was a highlight.
You want to talk about people? Yeah, go ahead.
What the guy was saying right now, that's you accuse your enemies of what you're doing. Like they're accusing, I guess Pierre in this case, of being an extremist when they're the far left extremists.
Oh yeah, exactly. You hit the nail on the head there. So let's talk about the PPC a little. Maxime Bernier, he's on all the huge podcasts. He was on fucking Alex Jones yesterday or the day before, right? What do you guys think of all that stuff? You guys are all loving the PPC, and I mean, I like it. I like the PPC. I wouldn't say I'm a joiner. I told you I'm an anarchist, so it's difficult for me to join anything at this point. But I like the PPC because you stand against transgenderism firmly. And I like it when someone makes a fucking decision about things. The Liberals, it's just the door's open for everybody. The NDP, door's open for everybody, unless you question their policies.
Well,
then the Conservatives, I don't know, like whatever. Conservatives, I don't know.
The Liberal,
he's saying nothing really.
The Liberal, it's open if you have $300,000.
Right.
Yeah.
Ask Rudy Geller.
And it's non-refundable.
And it's not refundable.
But anyway, PPC, what, 3% of Canada's voting?
That's what's
depending.
Is this going to help? Do you think this is going
to when the polls are being honest that the People's Party of Canada actually exists, they're pushing 2 to 3-ish%. The truth is, it's closer to 8%.
Mm-hmm.
So every now and then you'll see a poll come out, and you're like, "Hey, wait a minute! There's like 5% missing somewhere," and you're looking for a deviation somewhere between the Liberals and the Conservatives, but you're actually finding the deviation is a loss of Liberals and a loss of NDP. So what I'm finding when I do the research and I check the numbers is the People's Party of Canada moving from a populist approach back to straight up good governance is drawing moderates from the other parties. But the pollsters will not report that.
Mm-hmm. 2.53 million subscribers to this podcast with this guy here where he is. He was there on that show yesterday or the day before, just on YouTube. I don't know about his other channels. 2.5 million subscribers on YouTube. So
How many
Maxime
views?
Bernier is like, holy shit, the Americans want to know what the fuck is going on in this country. And you know what I think? That's a bad sign. It's a bad sign that the rest of the world wants to know what's going on in Canada, because it means it's a dumpster fire.
Well, you know,
no one cared before because we were just up here being cold and no one, not bothering anybody.
It's quite funny because sometimes you bring a product from the west part of Canada to the east part of Canada, and it's more easy for truck drivers to go through United States because the roads are better. So Maxime Bernier has to go to United States to bring message to Canadian, because mainstream media don't give him no exposure at all. It's zero. And Tim was referring to polling agency. They are manipulating the polls. Look at Léger, who's from Quebec. They manipulate the poll, and the Bloc is always higher, and the Conservative Party are always lower. And now the Liberal will win the majority government. So they're manipulating the polls all the time. It's not
who's going to win this election? Like, is there going to be a freaking election in Canada, like literally tomorrow? Or well, Timothy has a theory that they're playing games with us. It's not going to happen. Is that right?
I think
will the Conservatives win? I want to know what you guys think. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
Usually when I make a prediction, I'm wrong, but maybe you can use that as a bellwether. I think tomorrow he's going to basically say, I intend to hold an election. And if he says anything more definite, it would be, I intend to hold an election within the legal framework, which we have 2 laws that manage that timeline. And if he's a little bit more definite, he may say 2025, or he may straight up say 2026, which I don't think he will say. The shorter we are to an election, the more likely the Conservatives are to win. The longer we are to an election, the more likely Canadians are to become apathetic again. And Andre speaks to this directly about the first year in rule. Do all the hard, ugly stuff first.
That's Machiavelli. That's Machiavelli. Yes.
Right. So that when you get into the second year, people will have forgotten about it, become complacent again, where apathy is reinforced.
There's propaganda going so hard to make the Liberals win, and I thought this right when that 51st state started. Donald Trump is just playing along with some other weird agenda. He doesn't think that this is serious. I don't think he's playing games with us. No. And also, here's the thing: the 51st state narrative. This is what I thought from day one, and I still pretty much do think it. That it's all designed to make the Conservatives look bad and the PPC look even worse. And the right wing is coming to North America. And just push that kind of ideology into the culture at large and swing the middle voters towards the left. I mean, I don't know. Am I thinking just crazy thinking here? Or is it we should join America? I mean, what side do you want to take?
I'm Canadian. I have nothing else to add. Like, if that doesn't say everything that needs to be said as a Canadian, I am Canadian. What Trump is doing, I think, is a brilliant piece of negotiation. It is correct to observe that degree of coverage, and it has gotten even less. There are 343 districts in Canada, so there will be 343 members of Parliament. Name any of the unknowns, or those returning candidates, or those first-time candidates for the People's Party of Canada who've gotten a single minute's worth of airtime on the news. It has not yet happened, and I'll excuse that because the writ has not been dropped. But when the writ is dropped, how much can we anticipate that the Main Street media will cover the other 342 People's Party of Canada candidates?
In September 2024, there was a by-election in Quebec, in La Salle Villemort. And Radio-Canada in French had an interview with the independent candidate and never invited a PPC candidate. You can understand. And it,
so this is
incredible.
That's Stalin's picture. Right? We talked about that. Was Stalin had the guy who was his friend just off his shoulder in the old photo, and then they had him killed or sent to the gulag, and had him erased from the photo.
Well,
the media is doing the same thing with the People's Party of Canada candidates.
It reminds me also of Agatha Christie. and then there's none.
And then there were none.
And then there were none.
Yeah. Yeah.
I threw up a quick photo on the screen here just because it kind of plays into our conversation. Because if you want to join the United States, well, some people say there's reasons why. Because bad things about Canada. Pick your bad thing. One of them is that we're owned by the king and we're owned by the queen and so whatever. I don't know. I don't know the minutia of all that stuff. That somehow we are still England, whatever. Well, you want to join the United States? Say like this. Trump kind of agrees to be an associate member of the actual Commonwealth. So leaving the Commonwealth,
well, we already are.
Commonwealth. I mean, that's fine.
That's Trump who said that.
I guess the Daily Mail. I don't know. Who knows?
The Daily Mail. The United States is an associate member, like by nature of NATO, by nature of sharing the same pond, by nature of sharing the same language, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Well,
this is, if indeed Trump said this, he's having a bit of a joke.
Well, Tim, this when you say same language or same intel, maybe it's MI6 and CIA behind. And don't forget one thing. I told you. I said Trump has a limited vocabulary. This guy is incredible. He's wonderful. Everybody's wonderful with him. Zelensky is wonderful. Yeah. Well, sometimes. Putin is wonderful. Macron is wonderful.
There's business. Yeah, sure. Everyone's doing business. Everyone's making money, and who cares? Yeah, whatever. Yeah.
So I just want to jump in here and say something. Sure. We were talking about the media, Max going on Alex Jones. It's astounding the difference between U.S. media, which is private-ish. I know it's centralized, but it's private. And Canadian media, which is 100% centralized, like everything we have here, state media, directly or indirectly. And just watching Alex Jones, the way he worked, like he was trying to offer solutions. Here are the problems. Here's how we get through this. This is how Canada can achieve more freedom. This is how Canada can work with America. If you look at Canadian media, it's kind of like, don't split the vote. Oh my God, we're in a really bad situation. Don't even think about voting PPC. And the reason is because the People's Party represents a lot of that, like that reform, the decentralized government that Donald Trump pursued. So by attacking Donald Trump and saying he's evil incarnate, what they're saying is all his ideas are evil. So in Canada, let's stick with the status quo.
Well, I think they should rename the CBC the Pravda.
Yeah.
Because it's like you mentioned, payment. It's states propaganda.
Yeah,
not complicated.
But like Pravda is so far removed from people's minds. It's, decades ago. I say compare it to the Islamic Republic of Iran right now. That the Iran controls their media. Canada controls their media. How are we?
Yes. But look. You talk about private media. Not so long ago, they wanted to bankrupt InfoWars. And they were calling Alex Jones an extremist with QAnon, and so and now he's not mainstream media. He's more alternative media. But Alex Jones is there since 20 years and even more. So he has a credibility that CNN, even Fox News or ABC or MSNBC, they don't have this credibility anymore.
Alex
let's watch 30 seconds of this. I haven't seen any of this yet. I just want to see it for myself. Let's 30 seconds.
We are importing cheap labor.
And just randomly 17 minutes in. Let's just.
We are importing cheap laborers actually in Canada. And both traditional political parties, liberals and conservative, are okay with that. They're working for big corporations and they're not working for Canadians. So that's why people, are very happy when we did, and they're very happy right now because we are there doing that fight that Polyev and Carney won't do for Canadians.
Okay, so he's fighting the good fight there. I'll tell you what I like about him. He seems like he's French, so he's really intense and passionate about what he says, and I'm partly French, as I said, so I can say those things in this woke country. Jesus, you gotta be careful what you say all the time. Anyway. No, he seems very he tightens up, in an intense way. And I kind of read that as body language, like he's fucking serious about something. There's Fabian socialists running this country and destroying it.
Fabian socialist, it's not an oxymoron.
Yeah, I guess he can't say that on the news here or anything, but he could have said that on Alex Jones, no problem, probably. But no, it's a problem, man.
Freedom of speech in the United States. First Amendment. We don't have this here.
Yeah. And the Fabians were all into sexology in the 1800s and all that stuff, and very sneaky propaganda, and
well, like I always say, psychological control.
Yeah.
You control the emotion of people. You control them.
Mm-hmm.
Something else that was different in that interview, and this is the reason that I don't want to single people out, but any candidates, specifically leaders of political parties in Canada, can't go to the U.S. media because unless it's the Daily Show or something with Jon Stewart, they don't ask serious questions like immigration and inflation and carbon tax. Maxime Bernier, for you love him or hate him, he's very authentic, he's very honest, and he'll give you his honest opinion. Before this, I was on another interview that the person told me that none of the big parties are sending any of their candidates their way. Just Me, Jamie, she has a X space where she interviews political candidates. None of the Liberals, none of the Conservatives are sending anyone their way because they want to control the messaging.
Yeah,
the interview is organized. Yeah. You cannot ask hard question.
Yeah. Well, let's listen to this. I got one more little thing here for us to enjoy together. Mark Carney, boy oh boy, he's a real talker, isn't he? He's been talking a lot lately, and I told you I'm an anarchist. I don't really even watch these guys. As soon as Mark Carney won, I was like, I don't even care. Whatever he's saying, it's just going to irritate me more. But it's interesting juxtaposition before I play this little video.
What's in his left hand?
Oh, good question. Could be. It's a pen. It looks like a pen. Yeah, that's
okay. A pen. Like a pen. But you said something about he talks a lot, but in Quebec he's rising in the poll, but he has so hard time speaking French. I don't understand. What is happening? They don't. Maybe it's I always make jokes. Now you want to make a French Canadian band or be afraid. You start to speak to them in English.
Yeah,
they will be afraid. And he's rising in the poll in Quebec, and he barely has problem speaking French.
The thing that I noticed between him and Justin Trudeau is this. Justin Trudeau will talk about your teeth, getting your teeth cleaned, and also talk about your child care, $10 per month, whatever that was. He would say
pride parade,
or pride stuff. Climate change is real.
Good jobs for middle class Canadians.
Yeah, he would repeat these kinds of things that really are things
for women and children.
Yeah. There were platitudes, sure, but they represented people on the ground. You're like, oh wow, whatever. But Carney, he's like, no, we're going to rearm Europe. We're going to reindustrialize, but also deindustrialize somehow.
He wants to do both. He needs to deindustrialize with what we call fossil fuel companies who will not comply, and then reindustrialize with windmill and.
There you go.
Well, if you have a hypersonic or ballistic missile that is supplied with solar panel, it will not go very far.
It appears that the election reform may be no more elections.
Yeah, Peter Biker has a comment there.
AI will vote for you.
Vote for me, yes.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. Mark Carney is an arsehole. Justin Trudeau is an idiot. It's like, oh my God, he's such an idiot. You can't even listen to him. But this guy, it's like, he's a really rude asshole, and I don't like to listen to him. So it's different. We have a different man here now. This is a fucking Luciferian, in my opinion. Let's listen to this little clip.
Prime Minister, thanks for taking my question, and welcome to Edmonton. And James from the Western Standard. You recently...
Sorry about the microphone.
Yeah, no problem. I'm a pretty tall guy. You have not been elected in a federal election yet. And you recently flew to Europe on government wide-body jet at the expense of at least $500,000. So the question I have for you today, and maybe I'll say this before I ask the question, these people around you all paid for that flight, and you've not been elected yet. So will you commit to refunding these taxpayers for that flight?
And now it's cut off here on the actual. Yeah, it continues.
I like this. I like his face.
Oh, it gets better. But in the background, you can't see it here, but there's 3 construction workers, right, for the shop, of course. And one of them's a lady. And she looks over at her buddies and she starts to giggle. She goes, "Oh my God, can you believe what they asked him?" And they're all going, "Hey, take that, you fucker." Okay, this is
well, it's an interesting
like he's in Alberta. These construction workers are standing there thinking, "I don't fucking like you, goddamn it."
question, way of framing it. Look, and I'm going to go back to, I'm going to allude to the question that was asked previously by Mr. Staples from the Journal, and the situation that we're in as a country, which is we are in an economic crisis that's brought on. Sorry, I'm going to answer the question. Brought on by the tariffs that have been put on Canada, actual and prospective. One of the challenges.
The economic crisis was brought on by former Prime Minister Justin Trudeau, and you were his advisor.
I think you would find. I think you would
did not create that problem.
I certainly. Hey, nobody in Canada created that problem. Nobody in Canada created that problem. The U.S. government has decided to put tariffs on all of its closest allies. All of its closest allies. I wouldn't for a moment suggest that anyone in Canada is the cause of this. What our responsibility is to take action to react to a different world that we're in. And part of the way we do that is we build out new partnerships, new opportunities, including opportunities. And I'm going to give you a specific one, and then I don't know if you have one more follow-up, but I'll give you a specific example that goes to my previous answer. Something I also discussed with the Premier this morning, which is Canada has many advantages, and one of them is in critical metals and minerals. One of the issues is how are we going to develop the trade routes and the trade corridors rapidly in order to export those critical metals and minerals? And who are our clients for that? Who are our customers? Do we only have one customer to the south of us, the customer that's attacking us, that doesn't respect the trade agreements that they signed? Or should we develop new customers in Europe? What's required, if I may, what's required for those new customers is to build out trade corridors and infrastructure, including what I referenced in my previous answer and discussed with the Premier, is the potential to go north, go to new deep water ports. Churchill is an example, Gray's Point in Nunavut as another. And that creates a whole new set of opportunities for Albertans as a whole, for people across the country, for these hardworking people around me and those like them in the trades. And that's what my job is.
I'll take that as a no then.
No, you'll take that as a very comprehensive answer to your question.
Oh, snap.
Can I just say something?
Yeah.
He's saying that 41 million people, Canadian, nobody is accountable for $1.3 trillion of debt. Is this what he's saying? There's no accountability? The only thing that I see now, I will just finish. The only thing that I see now is during Soviet Union, the Bolshevik were accountable for nothing. Nothing. And it is astonishing how he's answered. First of all, and he's full of contempt, this man. Full of contempt.
I know, an asshole, eh?
They did the same thing during COVID when the Ukraine war broke out. The Liberal Party messaging was, this is a once-in-a-lifetime pandemic. China's supply routes have been stretched, and the invasion of Ukraine, that's why we have inflation. I'm not kidding you. That was literally in a Liberal Party newsletter.
Yes.
So now they've just switched it over to the tariffs. They caused all of our problems.
Like I always say, they changed the SIM card in the brain of people. That's it. That's simple. But the level of contempt of this man is disgusting. He's a disgusting person.
Yeah, he knows what he's doing, right? And
yes,
he
does.
He's got a really evil smile, right?
Yes.
I was satisfied to accept the direction in which he was responding, right up to the point where he said, "That's my answer, and you will like it."
No debate.
No debate. No.
Right? Because right at the end, he said, "That's my answer, and it's a comprehensive answer, and you'll eat your peas, and you'll like them."
Well, it's interesting because
it's unnecessary.
That media is what it is, CPAC. So they don't like CPAC. They don't like True North. They don't like Rebel News.
Well, that reporter was from Western Standard.
Okay,
right?
But still,
which is a more conservative-minded online news entity. I don't think the question was a useful question, but like, are you going to repay the Canadians? I'm sorry, but this isn't the was it Canada Tax Federation people?
That's small fish.
Right?
That's small
I
fish.
think, yeah, it's a small fish question, and we're in a big fish situation.
Yes, yes. So,
We need our news pundits on the right to bring their A game.
but it refers to what Payment was saying. You know, in Canada, we don't have media. It does not exist because there's no serious question. You have to go to United States to be able to express something serious about what we would call economic war or economic conflict between two great allies, I would say Canada and United States.
Mm-hmm.
It's amazing.
Anyway,
No, that's
I was inspired to put something on the screen here.
That's
Just
Stalin.
Stalin.
That's Stalin.
For 5 minutes and no one wants to stop clapping.
And our struggle for the bright future of humanity.
Humanity.
And our struggle against war. And in our struggle for the perseverance of peace. Anyway.
This could be Justin Trudeau.
I mean, nothing ever fucking changes with these people.
Well, the big difference between Trudeau,
There it
and
is.
Stalin
This is
was
the 5-minute clap, right?
Yeah, this is the thing, and this is the thing. Yeah. If whoever stops clapping first will fucking disappear.
They disappear in the gulag.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yes. Yeah. You will fall down. Whoever falls down on the floor first, then maybe then you can stop. Okay, fine. It's not a joke. This stuff, and this is socialism at its final bitter end.
No, it was just 1 year before Stalin died, or was
this is his final speech.
I think it was suicide, like Epstein.
Yeah.
You have some similarities. Like we could go to who perpetrated the suicide.
And when I watch the Canadian Parliament, they're all on their cell phones. The Liberal bench in particular, they're all dressed weirdly.
So maybe when the kids go to school, they shouldn't be allowed to have their cell phones in class.
No, but they can have sex reassignment surgery. They can.
No, I'm talking about our members of Parliament.
No.
Right. If you're a member of Parliament and you're sitting in session, turn your damn phone off.
Well, I think you remember the picture of a member of Parliament with high heel shoes.
Oh, Larry Brock, I think his name was.
Yes. Was it a joke or was it
Actually, it was my MP as well.
That was Pink Shoe Day or something like that.
What? Okay, explain.
Yeah, it was just I can't remember. Wait, was it Doug Ford?
Larry Brock wears shoes, pink shoes.
Was it Larry Brock, Patrick Weiler, and a whole bunch of
wearing pink high-heeled shoes.
He's a conservative, that guy, by the look of it.
Yes.
Right?
Yes, he's a conservative.
I can't remember who it was.
Yeah, well, he shouldn't be doing that. That's not a conservative thing, is it?
Well,
just like a woman.
No, they danced around the table like they were going around in a circle. It was just absolutely bizarre for grown adults to behave that way.
So I mean, like,
they're transforming the house into a stripper joint.
Well, I'm thinking, like, if you're going
to do that,
I can't
save it for Marty.
Honestly, that I would respect more.
Yeah. Anyway, oh geez.
So the pigs have moved into the farmer's house. It's that simple.
That's a very, very serious symptom of a society that lost its, I would say, moral, but also I will use the expression of Poilievre, common sense or rationality. No rationality in Canada.
Humiliation ritual. That's an interesting thought.
Oh, that was nice too.
That's as a branch of BDSM. The humiliation ritual.
Yes,
right?
exactly.
So that's an interesting psychological take, because people who participate in that at a diplomatic level, in business, and in the European conceptual art and whatnot, is that they could. Do you remember seeing the Black Mirror?
Yes, the Black Mirror is very, very.
Right?
Which episode are you referring, Timothy? I watched it all.
Where they made the Prime Minister screw the pig.
Yeah, the very first episode, season
because
1,
they
episode
wanted
1.
to release a hostage.
Humiliation ritual.
Yeah,
so who's to say some of these politicians aren't being forced to participate in a humiliation ritual as part of their hazing into these extra political agreements?
Yeah, before I
that's
segue,
a good hypothesis.
Before I segue,
that's interesting.
Stephen's
That's
Colbert
interesting.
here, but and maybe get towards a wrap up eventually here soon. But we'll get into some more stuff. But on that note, you're bringing into a very dark element of the government
Yes.
and the media and Hollywood and all that stuff. But P. Diddy, all that shit.
Yeah.
Epstein, etc.
Yeah.
I'll plug a podcast on Sunday. I'm doing with someone who survived satanic ritual abuse. She was in a Luciferian cult her whole life, and she escaped. And I'm having her on my podcast on Sunday. We're going to talk about this very topic
Tomorrow.
Oh, Sunday, tomorrow. Yeah.
Okay.
Anyway, so that's gonna be rough. But no, okay. So let's segue into this because I'm also doing another big panel about COVID-19. I've decided Sunday the 30th. And if any of you guys are interested, we'll talk privately about that. I'm trying to pick very specific people, get 5, maybe 6 people together, and do a huge COVID, just 2020, and call it part 1, and then we'll do a part 2 later, 2021. So a whole episode, whole hour, a bunch of people, Canadians, talking about what happened here in 2020 only, pre-vaccine. I think it's time for a little rehash on that fucking shit. Oh man, I've been thinking about what to do lately for the podcast. Like I don't know what kind of things we could talk about.
We were referring to alternative media,
Yeah.
and I think we have to encourage those initiatives more and more. So one day there's a lot of people will start to disconnect slowly. Maybe not a lot of people at first, but people will start to disconnect slowly. You arrive at the point in your life that you cannot support lies anymore.
Yeah, we gotta figure this out because whatever's happening in Canada is some kind of sick outgrowth of this fucking shit that's been applied to the whole country. I mean, this is America, but hello, it happened everywhere, and it's worse here than there. Look at this. Everyone has seen this. This is an infamous clip.
Stephen Colbert and Jon Stewart.
Yeah,
they are pushing propaganda through comedy,
Yeah.
and they think and people think that just because it's a comedy, it's a joke, and it's okay.
It is not.
Yeah.
It is not a joke.
No, it's not.
They what they're doing. They use their credibility or their fame to push an ideology, and this is dangerous.
Replace those vials or whatever, the syringes. Replace that with like a racist image of black people. Just because it's a joke doesn't mean it's not.
It is a version of 1936.
You mean the Olympics?
Yes.
The Olympics with Hitler and Berlin.
Well, not the Olympics per se, but like you're saying, the German version of the Warner Brothers Disney cartoonization of Marx of Nazism and whatnot.
Okay.
I agree with Payman saying is by making this into cartoonish and immature behavior intentionally as a lowbrow attempt at humor takes the teeth out of the accusations.
Yeah, it's really.
And it appeals to people who will not see the psychological manipulation.
Yeah.
This is a picture I chose for my little advertisement for my upcoming round table next Sunday. We'll see who's there. I invited a few people already, but I'm still building the panel. And we're going to just talk about COVID in Canada. But look at the picture. This is from Israel. This came from Israel.
From Israel. Think about, we compare Quebec with Israel because Israel it's about 8.9 million people, close to 9 million people. In Quebec, it's 9 million people, and the vaccination rate, I will put it between quotes, the vaccination was 85%, and it was similar in Quebec. So the vaccine and Israeli people after 1 year started to realize what was happening because Netanyahu was in bed with Albert Bourla, the CEO of Pfizer. So it was a test, and I started to compare the data with between Israel and Quebec, and in Quebec was the same thing. When you have 85% of the population, I think it's less than that, but the media was pushing this number all the time to force people to comply.
Yeah, there's a lot to get into. It's been a while. Ugh. People are moving on from what it's going to be another 9/11. This stuff, isn't it?
There was a joke that someone suggests is in poor taste, but I thought it was funny at the time. Is the picture of the old man that you used for your profile picture with the whiskered tufts of hair, the old British guy?
Oh, Schopenhauer. Yeah.
There's a
Schopenhauer
full-on bust of his painting. Yes. And underneath him it says, "When this is all over, we'll have a good laugh." Well, not all of us, obviously.
No. And you talk about okay, we have to move on. No, first of all, as an individual, I will never move on because they broke the society. Secondly, when you think of this, the PSYOP continues because now it's made.
Yes,
Continue with this. Now we're number one in the world in Canada for MAID. Number one in the world.
MAID, yes, medical assistance in dying. It's a
In
lethal
dying.
injection. It's lethal injection.
Yeah.
In California, they have it too. And you drink, the person has to drink the brew or whatever, push a button, whatever, or a family member. But in Canada, no, bam, and it looks like milk. And it comes right.
Yes.
It's this thick fucking white. It looks like milk. My
It's
wife
great.
looks
It's
like it all the
incredible.
time. And she told me last night, everybody's taking it. Everybody,
Yes.
it's actually spreading.
It's spreading.
Really fast.
It's spreading.
in this hospital where my
So
wife works.
then that's Soylent
Everybody's
Green.
taking it.
That's Soylent Green, 1972, right? Where the father, he gives up when he realizes, that we're actually, the oceans were running out of food sources for what's left of it, and then they were actually using dead people to create the green
Soylent Green.
right?
So
The green
Is that what they're doing in
green
that movie?
chips.
Oh,
And so he goes off to this building that is a crematorium, supposed to be a crematorium, but what they're really doing is they're collecting all the corpses afterwards and sending them off to be processed for food.
Jesus.
Now we're not very far from that because there was a pseudoscientist, I think it was in Sweden, who was saying that we should go back to cannibalism.
Going back.
Those are scholar people. They have a
What do you
tribune
mean
and a
going back? It
microphone,
was never a thing.
Right?
and they promote it like it's normal, like it is something that will be accepted eventually when people will really understand what is happening. They will understand and they will agree with it.
So then they have to find a way to move it into popular culture to be celebrated as a community event.
Yes.
Logan's Run.
Yes, that's
Carousel-
exactly.
Carousel in Logan's Run.
That's exactly. It has to be. Why do you have Nicole Kidman in a commercial who's eating the bugs and she's saying that it is? She's doing sushi with the bugs and she's eating them. Like, you peasant, you have to accept because I'm popular. I'm a
Right.
icon of Hollywood, and
Yes.
I have to tell you what is good for you. You see, I heat it for you.
Mhm.
It's amazing. Hollywood is a psychological weapon. One of them.
Yeah, I always say the media is a weapon of mass destruction, at least in Canada. I mean, I can't speak for other countries. I just can't.
The weapon of mass instruction.
Yeah, there you go. Is this it here?
Indoctrination.
Man, yeah.
Yes, that's good.
Micro livestock,
Like-
hornworms. They're still alive.
Vanity Fair magazine, by the way.
It is vanity.
So
Vanity Fair.
this,
Very
Everything
nice.
is vanity.
Chewy. Can't quite describe the flavor.
what's the
but-
name of that film series?
Water.
I don't know.
I'll mute it. I'll
the-
mute it.
May the odds be ever in your
Oh,
favor.
Jesus, this conversation's going right down.
What
Oh my
movie was
goodness.
that? Where they say
Look,
may the
wait,
odds.
Look where we've ended up. We started in Canadian politics, and it always ends in the fucking bugs. It always
Yeah,
ends in
this-
the bugs.
This
Why does
is
it always end
the
this way?
character of that movie series.
Well,
Oh my God.
David, that's the improvisation part.
It's just so perfect. It's so perfect. Here we go. We were talking Canadian politics. We started off.
Well, if this
Gentlemen,
Canadian,
now we're
we
in
go back
reality
to
here
the
now.
bugs.
Yeah.
This is a Hunger Games parody.
yeah.
You can't
Anyway,
imagine
thank you.
that.
Oh boy! Wow. Anyway,
This is the opposite of building a prosperous society. We can't even feed ourselves.
oh man. Okay. Well, I don't know. We've been talking. We can keep going a little. I mean, I'm actually not doing much at the moment. But how are you? What's going on with you guys?
I wonder how much she had the microdose before she was high enough to do this.
Jesus. Yeah. I don't know.
But like you said, Tim, I think maybe they have something on her, so they're forcing her to eat the bugs.
Right? Yeah,
Oh,
you're
definitely.
But that brings a concept that we always talk about. When you have something, blackmail.
Yes.
Yeah, that's
Blackmail.
so huge. I think about that all the time. And also MK Ultra mind control people in high places. They've been doing this since the 50s. Think about it. There could be hundreds or thousands or hundreds of thousands of people born as children in some bunker MK Ultra mind control. The Luciferian cults are doing it.
Yes.
And I'll be talking about it on Sunday.
We're
That's what
all
COVID
subject
What if
to
there's
that.
hundreds of thousands of those people in positions of power? I look at the liberals sitting on their benches, giggling, goofing around on their cell phones, elbowing each other, not listening to what's being said in the parliament. And I think, I don't know. They're mind control, or they got no fucking mind. I don't know.
Well, the instrument of control, also the tool of control, is the smartphone, the selfie, the concept of selfie, the ego. They are in the house, and they don't listen to their colleague. They don't listen to the speech. They play on their smartphone. I saw some example at the National Assembly in Quebec. You see in the back when the minister's doing a speech, they're all playing on their phone. They're not even listening. And that's systematic.
I have to inject this. I don't buy into the mass mind control organized by secret cult stuff. I accept that human beings are self-centered to a fault. And being of a generally similar nature and design, it is not too hard to distract a whole bunch of us and lean those of a certain inclination into a particular direction without too much effort. You look at the Briggs-Myers, which is it's rough, breaking people down into 16 general types. If I know that you fall somewhere into one of these personality or character types, then I know what your triggers are. And 16 is not too hard to manage as a general rough gauge. But the idea of this mass cabal of secret mind control, I don't accept it, because I think that's too much work, and I can manipulate people at a general level without having to spend that kind of money.
Wow.
And that kind of risk of exposure.
You're talking like a marketer, a specialist in marketing. That's what you do. Layers of customers,
it's not difficult, because Maslow's hierarchy is a thing. People are motivated by food and drink and clothing and
pleasure, entertainment,
and making more of the making babies. And if I speak to these general things in loose terms, I can motivate people.
But it's
into the upper, when you get like politics and justice and the military and diplomats and whatnot, then I'm going to need a dossier with their name on it and, wave it under their nose on occasion to say, I know where your daughter lives type of stuff. And I agree that absolutely happens. But I don't think it is this dark cabal stuff that we all like to talk about. It's easier to point at a boogeyman and blame a boogeyman than it is to take personal responsibility. Right?
Or doing good research to bring fact.
Well, the question then is, what classifies as good research anymore?
It costs a lot. That's why you have, for example, a lot of companies that are financing researchers, because they know that they can control the result of their research.
Yeah. I mean, do these agents or agencies exist? I have to accept that it's probable, but I have no control over people who are, a dozen socioeconomic layers above me. What I do have control over is recognizing the triggers that are out there and actively choosing how I will respond to the triggers. So personal responsibility. And I think that's the way forward. Right. So we've got paperclip, and we've got all these other, the skunk works and the magic that they can concoct, and all these other things that are flying around in the air, chemtrails, etc. And the thing is, maybe I'm not able to physically do something about that myself, but my bullshit meter is pretty good. Right. And so people who have a kind of a bad bullshit meter, well, maybe I lend them a hand. Right.
Well, I have a comment in a short video. Okay, now they're into the weeds here. Nick Hudson was on this podcast. He's a bit of a philosopher, and I really appreciate his take on a lot of things. He works for PANDA, this big group that studies the COVID pandemic mostly. Anyway, it's a consortium of open source sort of intellectuals and philosophers and scientists and doctors down in South Africa. And he came on, and we talked about this concept, which you were alluding to, about how 90% of the population just go along with the herd. They can be swayed and mind controlled very easily or whatever. And 10% are just like immune to it, whatever. Nothing can happen. And I was like, so what do you think about this? Is this a real phenomenon? What's going on there? And he said, yeah, he's boiled it down, and he referred to someone else, his opinion. He said, we've boiled it down to this concept of like, evolutionarily, and I know not to speak of Darwinism here, but evolutionarily of societies, people need to work or nothing's going to get done. You need just people who are going to just do what they're told. I'm sorry. And this comes in, Nietzsche could be brought in here at any minute, because it's like some people are leaders naturally also, or thinkers, or bridge builders, or whatever, right? Or great warriors or chieftains. I mean, there's a weird rabbit hole here. And Nietzsche says, we should go back to the pre-Christian times where it was of masters and slaves, because the slaves knew their place and the masters knew. And I'm not promoting this. Let's just be clear. But Christianity invented evil, right? So, well, we're in a big rabbit hole here, aren't we? But my only point was to point out this, that 80% of the people, 90% of the people are going to be mind controlled all the time. And it's a real problem. And they have mastered it. The people who own the media, whoever they are in Canada, the despots, the despotic government, they have people in an iron grip right now, I think, here. What do you think?
Well, there's one aspect you talk about Nietzsche and about this Manichaean or dialectic of the master and the slave. The slave needs the master, and the master needs the slave. I think about Tolstoy in Russia, when he started to free his kripasnoy, his peasants. They didn't want to go. They were saying, okay, you give me my freedom, but with what do I have? I have to work. Now you're providing me with a house, with food, and good care. Think about the welfare state. So I think I agree with you. You have a lot of people who will just comply because they want to have a normal life, a simple life, and create family, small business. The problem is when you have big corporations who arrive and start to manipulate those people for evil reason. Evil meaning mind control, population control, eugenics. So we are in a state now where technology will permit those great entities to control a vast majority of people. And that's quite dangerous, because those people are naive, not naive in a pejorative sense. They're naive, they're kind, I would say even more kind, and people will, some opportunists, like Timothy said, they will take advantage of them. And this is where the state should arrive and have this moral duty to protect them. Maybe that's part of what was supposed to be Christianity, which has decayed over the last maybe 2 centuries.
In government, we tend to talk about, those of us who consider ourselves watchdogs of this, can tend to talk about centralization and decentralization. Right, where centralization, we use the term globalization, but it's centralization. And so when you see groups centralizing power, and then large groups of groups centralizing power, so we're entering into this age of globalization. The solution to this is decentralization. So, and I say this a lot, the solution to globalization is tribalism, starting with the family unit, right? You support the family unit. If you find that family members are distracted by Marxist ideology or whatnot, then we need to find a way to not ostracize that family member, but assist them to come back and to find the center. I don't think, in a practical sense, talking to them about paperclip or Stingray or etc. or MI6.
It will not have any influence.
This language that's the barrier that they have been trained to resist. But people within families in particular are not going to resist someone who says, "Hey, I hear you're having a rough time. Why don't you come on over for dinner?" And to not talk policy, to not talk religion, right? To not talk, et cetera, et cetera. None of the garbage that's outside that home and away from that dinner table should be welcome at the dinner table. So that family realizes that sanctuary is in the home, right?
The sanctuary, the word sanctuary is proper.
Right? And so my thought is, if the attack is on the family, and most of us would agree that that's the actual case, then we strengthen the family. And so when you look at political parties, let's bring this back to the era that we're in. Name a single political party that gives a flying fuck about family. One.
PPC.
One, the People's Party of Canada.
People's Party.
Because its foundational principles are freedom, respect, fairness, and responsibility.
Yeah,
and
sure.
that means that there are going to be people that do not ideologically align, but they're free to do so. That means there are going to be people who will disrespect, but we respect, right? That means there will be people who will say this isn't fair, but we provide fairness. I mean, and fairness is not, what's the word? Equity, right? Fairness is not equity. Fairness is access, right? So, and responsibility is a two-way street. And the party says we will be held fiscally and criminally accountable for our actions, right? So this is the only party that's saying to the family, we want you strong. And that is the nucleus of tribalism. And that is the way out of globalism. And that's the way out of this nonsense.
That's one thing.
Perfect.
That's one thing. Like
generation to do it.
Like David mentioned about, you know, a lot of people will comply or they will never achieve a high level of intellect. There's a French philosopher, Pierre Rosanvallon, he was talking about the equality of conditions. You all start with the same bag of tools, and some people will achieve a higher level in the hierarchy for whatever reason. But at least it's not socialism. It's you give us an equal chance to everybody. That's what we call the political elevator. You can rise in the society because you have good instrument when you start. After that, depending on your natural talent, maybe you will have a higher position in the hierarchy than another person. It doesn't mean that the other person is not happy. She achieves what she wants, and that the concept of in the Soviet Union, they were trying to implement this concept. And there was a philosopher who said, you know, you arrive and you have a janitor, you start to talk to him, and they know Pushkin because they have a good general culture. What do we have here today? It's a world of expert. Everybody is expert in their own field, but they cannot achieve or they cannot talk about, like what you mentioned. You arrive on Sunday dinner, and you can talk about general culture, and it is pleasant. People are stuck in their echo chamber of technique or expertise, and they don't go out of it. A good society will promote a good general culture for all citizens, and after that, people can start to specialize, but they can still fall back and have a decent conversation without being stuck in a ghetto.
Boom, ghetto. Okay, well, that's a good segue there, ghetto.
Speaking of ghetto.
Yeah, and you mentioned a lot of things there, globalism and stuff like that. So we'll play with this little clip, and this will be our last little thing, I guess. We'll go over this, and then maybe just wrap up on a question about the PPC and how they're strategizing to get more than 3% and stuff. But first, let's have some fun, and then we'll talk serious. Okay, here we go. Let me share this tab right here. Okay, here we go. This is at the Global Citizen Festival. Let's just be clear. The microphone says it. The TV says it. Everything says it. And you know who it is? It's the Queen of Europe, Ursula von der Leyen. What does she have to say for us today? Let's check this out. Apparently, this is pretty recent, within the last few years.
A better world also means a healthier world. And vaccination is our best chance to do this. Vaccines have saved millions of lives in the past 50 years. But right now, millions of children are still at risk. They need vaccines. So we must continue to support vaccination around the world. And today, I am pleased to pledge $290 million for Gavi.
Gavi, owned by Bill Gates.
The Vaccine Alliance.
Okay.
Each child should be protected.
Okay.
And more will come.
Oh.
Together with Gavi, we have the goal to vaccinate 500 million children by 2030. Europe will do its fair share. You can count on us, my friends.
Okay. Well, so anyway, that's happening.
Can I
That's happening.
interject? Can I
You know,
comment?
Yeah, go ahead. Say whatever you want on this one. Oh my God.
So we mentioned in our show a couple of times, revolution is an organized systemic change, organized by a government or an organization, a company, a family, a line, etc. Rebellion is the
spontaneous.
Is spontaneous, emotion-fed people at the ground, right? So what she's doing is fomenting revolution by managing the response of the grassroots before they come to a point of rebellion.
Yeah, there you go.
She's fomenting revolution, but at a government level.
It's interesting because we go back to Sigmund Freud and the psychology of analysis of the self. And Ursula von der Leyen, she's a very, very good friend with Albert Bourla of Pfizer, and she had some SMS on her mobile phone.
Yeah.
And the European Commission, which is not an organ that is elected in Europe, wanted to force her to give access to her to the message text SMS, and she refused. And until today, they cannot prosecute her for those SMS. The fact that she was promoting, I think I think it was maybe a little bit before COVID, or something like that. But after that, it became practically a soap opera in the European Union, because a lot of parties were trying to force her to give the SMS between her and Albert Bourla. And I will just end on this. Her husband is one of the CEO of the company of Pfizer.
Yeah.
And and she was Minister of Finance in the German government. So think about Germany rising again. Now they call her Ursula von der Leyen, not for that, it's her name, but they call her, there was a erotic movie many years ago, Ursula, the wolf of the SS. It was a very, very funny movie. And Ursula was a very sadistic woman for the Fourth Reich. So think about this. I will hand on that.
She would fit right in with that character.
Fits right in. She fits right in.
Oh my God.
With the whip and it's quite interesting.
Yeah. And this program of vaccine is, I'll use the word, vaccine is a dog whistle for extermination.
Well, it's the population behind. It's eugenic.
Yeah.
It's eugenic. We know that.
You can draw a line from anti-vaxxer to then anti-Russian and now anti-American, and these jackals in government, they use these phrases, like vaccination's how we get out of it, to herd the people. And to me, these people are evil. They have a goal in mind, and they'll do anything to get to that goal, even if it destroys society.
Yeah, there's a doctor in Quebec. His name is Amir Kadir. I say this for you, Payment, because he's Iranian, and he's from Quebec Solidaire, this socialist party in Quebec, and he has a Tesla. And the man is pro-climate change. He's for DEI, LGBTQ, whatever. And now he declared 2 days ago, he said, "Shit, I'm stuck with my Tesla." I wanted to say, "Shit, you're a doctor. You're a doctor, man. You have studied in university. You're a doctor since 20 years, and now you're stuck with your Tesla." The man he's completely brainwashed, even if he has a PhD.
He probably woke up. He watched the news probably last night, realized that people hate Tesla now, and he woke up.
And now he has
oh my God, I have a Tesla.
You see, this is the kind of people who is intelligent, but manipulated. It's not because you went to university that you cannot be manipulated.
And I'll tell you another thing. A doctor, a fucking brain, like I had a stroke, fine, whatever, full disclosure, 2 months ago. I was in the hospital for 5 days. A doctor, a fucking brain doctor, like $1 million per year doctor, walked into my room and said, "Did you hear what Donald Trump said?"
What's the point?
And I was like, I'm in the fucking hospital bed, dude. Don't talk to me about that. So there you go, as you said. And I was so shocked. I still think about that all the time. You know?
You're right. You're right. It is.
You're making me sick.
I have a theory.
My politics makes me sick. I'm sicker.
I have a theory about that. Donald Trump represents freedom, individual liberty, individual responsibility, and all of these people, especially these experts in these cities, they want the opposite. They want safety, strength in numbers, government.
They want they safety and control. They want control.
Yeah, so, safety and security.
It's a drug.
So the quote attributed to Benjamin Franklin is, "You sacrifice liberty for safety, you deserve neither." And these doctors, these educated people are saying, "I'll take safety because I don't need your liberty." Your liberty, no, I've been rephrased. Where your liberty encroaches on my safety, fuck your liberty, give me safety.
No, they're just crazy. They just want safety and security.
Yeah, there's an inverse correlation between the technology increase, freedom goes down in some sense, isn't it?
Yes. Marcuse, who was part of the
technology. That goes back to our traffic lights. Right?
Yeah, we started out talking. Really
back to the traffic lights, right? Our technology is not at fault for the loss of our liberties. It is the abuse of the technology.
Yeah.
Well, Herbert Marcuse, who was a philosopher the period with Theodor Adorno, they were structuralists. They came from Germany, and he was talking that in technology, domination is embedded in technology. It is embedded. You have, if you have technology, you will have domination. You cannot get out of it. So you cannot have a good or ethical way to use technology. You have it, and you will have the form of control that will come with it. What we will do with this technology, can we fight back? It's like the atom. We cannot put back the devil in the genie in the bottle. We have to control him, and we don't know how we will do it.
So is the final solution for Marxism to make man forget how to make fire? Well, because that's right. We made fire. Everything else comes from that. And from the evolutionary standpoint, right? Paleoevolution, right? That because man was able to harness fire, everything else came from that. Because you need a fire to make a forge, right? Everything else came. So if we go back to a point where we forget how to make fire, maybe
many philosophers, and I'm an amateur one, I'll just tell you that, I think that Hegel, who the Marxists love, Hegel was too complicated. He tried to incorporate a whole system of political, religious, spiritual, economy, you know this stuff. I don't need to tell you guys this. But Hegel, at the end of the day, none of it really would work together in logical models and stuff. But I don't know. Jeez, we're in the rabbit hole here, guys. Jesus, how are we going to wrap this up? I shouldn't have brought up Hegel.
No, it's not a rabbit hole.
Why did you bring him up?
It's not a rabbit hole, because you talk that the word, and you refer to Hegel. You talk about the best word to describe Hegel is system. They want a system that is complete. Yeah. Man is open. And why we have open source? Man is open, creative, unpredictable. You can save somebody and sacrifice your life for love or for an idea. They cannot achieve that. And that's why Hegel had a very hard problem with his system, because he was trying to integrate or incorporate everything. And he could not do it. And he had to admit it. There was a joke about Hegel. He says when he finally was able to achieve the perfect system, he went to play poker.
Well, Schopenhauer.
But that's a very, very interesting
having categorized the entire universe,
and you go play poker,
unpredictable game.
Exactly. So that's funny. That's one of my philosophy.
So that's God playing dice.
Yeah.
Right.
There's so many things I want to talk about. Tolkien. All of a sudden, I want to talk about Tolkien and the destruction of Hobbiton because of the technology. I want to get into this because Tolkien talked about this too. Yeah. But no. How about this? Schopenhauer. My picture. We brought him up already. Schopenhauer worked in the same university as Hegel, just down the hall at the same time, and Schopenhauer hated him. and Hegel had full classrooms, and 3 people would come to hear this guy.
Yes, that's funny.
He basically black pilled them constantly. He would say things like, the human just goes from boredom to suffering like a pendulum. I'm bored, now I'm suffering, and I'm bored.
Yeah,
And
but
the only salvation is to become an ascetic, like go live in the forest alone, or become an artist.
An artist, and exactly. But you see, you
Yeah, but
talk
an
about
artist is-
Hegel. You talk about Hegel or Heidegger was saying they were rock star. It's like you play, huh? You were a drummer, David. You play in your garage, huh? Nobody listens to you, and suddenly you become like the Beatles, a superstar.
Well,
you don't want to go back to your garage.
The resurrectionists in the 18th century, they were rock stars.
Yes, exactly.
They were necromancers.
Popular.
They were rock stars.
Well, it's fun talking to you guys, but I did
holes.
want to end on a serious note because Payman's running for freaking office here. He's in the PPC. You guys were affiliated or are loosely or
are
okay. You guys are in the club. Okay, cool. Payman, I had a sort of a question that we were talking about online a little back and forth. I guess just like PPC, the People's Party of Canada, 3% in the polls. The leader is on all the huge Alex Jones, all these other podcasts. Does the PPC have a new strategy or some kind of mission how they're going to increase that to 10% really fucking quickly before this country goes completely to shit, to a totalitarian state, which is a deep concern of mine, actually, that we're living in a despotic psychological state already? I don't know. Is that complex? That's an easy question. Go ahead.
No, it is. I'll preface it by saying Andre is still a member of the party, but he's no longer a candidate, so I'm not going to speak for him.
Sure.
One of the strategies that we're using is that a lot of people, like ordinary people, have stepped up. So this is not, this isn't like, you got a handful of candidates only in a couple of ridings, or like they're paper candidates. We're talking former military, former business owners, doctors, engineers, and our strategy, our sort of value add is to say, listen, we are ordinary citizens. We're not professional politicians, and there's a reason that we're running. So hear us out, and that helps get our foot in the door to do the second thing. And this is a bit of a long-term strategy, but it will increase our following, our membership in leading up to this election. It is to educate the public. So the difference between someone running for the People's Party and somebody running for an established party is that the established party, you can lean on the party brand as a crux. And then when you can do that, you can use slogans. The party tells you what slogans to use, and the party ushers you across the finish line. With us, we have to actually understand all the issues, and we're basically boots on the ground. Our strategy is to talk to the public, to educate them, and to ask them to trust us with their vote. And that's how I'm doing it in my community. I know that they're doing it in many other ridings and many other communities. Now, this whole Carney thing presents a bit of a challenge, because it's a challenge, and it does give us a strategy, because it makes it seem like he's evil incarnate. But what we're saying is, listen, this is the third election that you've told us not to split the vote. This is the we had Trudeau was the ultimate evil. We had to get him out before we could vote for the People's Party. Okay, we got him out, and now you've got Trudeau 2.0. So what's going to happen after Carney's out? Another Trudeau 3.0, Carney 2.0. So it's really about engaging the public and asking them to put their confidence in us and let us fix the country.
Yeah, trust is a big one. Trust is a big one, because there's this thing about, like, even I think about this. I don't vote. I'm an anarchist, but sometimes I think about it because times are different now. You can't just be an anarchist on the farm anymore. The government's coming. That's how it feels, right? So that's why I'm talking to you guys and start a podcast to have these discussions. But yeah, the trust piece, I found that interesting. Yeah, because I think I should vote conservative because we got to get the liberals out. This is the thing. People think that. Or like, we got to give the underdog a chance, because they're standing for real shit here. They're not playing around. Like the children and stuff, chopping up children and normalizing that. The sterilization of children, the transgender thing. I'm sorry. What's next? Open worshiping demons in public? Human sacrifice?
They already did it last year in the
this is a Baphometization of society. I've coined this term, I think. The Baphometization of Canada. It's like normalizing transgenderism surgeries for children. And the PPC stands against that. So for my vote, that's huge, because that surgical system, that whole thing going on there with the drugs and all that, and the education system, that's a symptom of a great, bigger problem that we only touched on when we got into mind control and cults and all that stuff. But I'll leave it there. I'm not going to open that rabbit hole right now. But I like PPC for that reason, because it's very clear, right and wrong. That's what I say. So that's my endorsement of the PPC, I guess.
Thank you very much. I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah. Okay.
Thanks.
Well, we had some fun, but yeah, serious note to end. But I think it's not a joke what's going on in this fucking country. Am I wrong? It's not a joke.
Well, we try to invest ourselves, commit ourselves to politics. Like Tim is the president of the one association. Maybe you can talk about it, Tim. I'm a member, and I try to support ideas and promote strategies. But you're right, the policies of the PPC are clear.
Yes,
and they are without ambiguity. There's no nuance in this. It's child mutilation, transgender or sexual gender identity is child mutilation.
Yeah, and being clear in your moral ethics, being very clear, right and wrong. We need that back in the world, because this wokeism really is a kind of postmodernist milieu of like, the door is open for you, the door is open for you, everybody, no problem, do whatever you want. Except if you question all of that, do we actually need moral ethics in the fucking country? If you ask that question, now you're a bad guy. So this is real problem. We're in really rough water here in this country, man. You question the bad things they're doing, and you become the bad guy. Oh man, it doesn't bode well for our country long term. This shit, this ideology of wokeism in Canada. Anyway, I'm not here to rant.
Reject the view of a negative future.
There you go.
That's why we're here. That's why we're here. We're here to offer solutions. I reject the view of a negative future. Are there unanswered questions so far that we will be bumping into post-election? Absolutely. We will face them. I reject the view of a negative future. My role with the party is to support our local candidates that are in our jurisdiction and our districts. And I believe in all of them. And they are men of quality and women of quality, and they deserve our support. And I will not hold a negative view as a cloud over the time and the money and the effort that they put in to earn the member of parliament seat and the vote of confidence from their local, from the people who live in the towns that they live in and work in themselves. If we want to change Canada, then we have to accept that we cannot have a negative view, because you curse yourself. I'm not here for that.
There's one word that is important, and I think it can summarize what Tim is: dedication. Dedication, and if somebody challenge you in something, do not step back. Like this 51st state, everybody wants. A lot of people wants to surrender without looking at the interior problem. Let's face our problem now.
There you go. Yeah, I like that. I don't find that 51st state stuff palatable. I find it strange, and I find it weak to want to just run away to some greater. You know what? Bernie Sanders is running for president next time. And guess who his vice presidents might be? Is AOC.
Yes. So will he still be alive?
Alberta goes and joins the United States, and in 4 years they get Bernie Sanders as their fucking president. I mean, come on. It's a stupid narrative.
That's Biden-Harris 2.0.
Yeah. Anyway, it's just.
Could you imagine they join the U.S. and then they're like, "Please take us back."
This is the problem. It's like the pendulum swing is really intense. It's like, okay, let's join the United States, and then all of a sudden, in 4 years, we're back where we started. I think that we need countries, at least for now, because
borders.
We don't want a one world order, do we? Isn't this the thing everyone's talking about? The new world order? We can't have that. So I think
it will never work.
Yeah. Okay, let's stop opening rabbit holes. But it's great to talk to you guys. I like having you guys here, because I don't go into the politics too much, but it's nice to go deeply sometimes and try to look at all of it, lay it all out, let it all out to air a little. Anyway. So Cerberus at the Improv, that's your guys' show. And Payman has his own podcast. What is it called?
In lay terms.
In lay terms. And you talk to you have like 2 or 3 people per day on your podcast, right? You're talking to all of the PPC candidates. You're talking to all the people all the time. So I would encourage people to go there.
He's going for the Guinness World of Record for
Right.
most interview.
You do a lot of
in a year.
podcasts.
He's doing a lot.
Most
Jeez.
accelerated aging.
Right. There are a fair number of comments in the live chat. If any of those questions are unable to be answered now, my handle under my name is my Twitter. Feel free to send that question to me, and we're happy to talk about it.
Yeah, there's a lot of comments there. But
there's a lot, and a lot that we're not really able to deal with in this format. But by all means,
it takes a longer development, a longer answer.
No, there aren't that many comments. They're all just from Wolf.
I was being diplomatic.
Yeah. Okay, guys. Well, it's great having you here, and I'll put links in the show notes to your guys' X accounts, I guess. People could find you there, and of course, Cerberus at the Improv. You guys just sort of like come together on X. There's no like one.
There is a Cerberus at the Improv X channel called Cerberus Improv.
Okay, and you have a Rumble? You guys do this on Rumble too?
And
right?
there is a Rumble channel called Cerberus at the Improv, and a YouTube channel called Cerberus at the Improv, and a Facebook group page called Cerberus at the
Improv.
Okay, we'll get that in there. And I operate from Rumble a lot.
No OnlyFans page?
Not yet. Not yet.
Oh God, please come on. Let's not go there. Okay, well that's it. There'll be links in the show notes, many of them. And fight the good fight, boys. Fight the good fight.
Thank you for the chat.
Thank you for inviting us, David. It was a pleasure.
Adios.
Bye, guys.
End of stream.